everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, all the product I use, all the dimensions will be listed below. There is a link to my online store if you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. I'd love to be yours. My email address is there if you have any questions. There's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and help me grow. I really appreciate it. Now you're saying, why do I have a bunch of paper sitting in front of me today? This is sort of the end of the paper. We're going to be playing with Playing in the Rain. Playing with In the Rain and the stamp set, stamps and dies are both carrying over, as well as the raindrop embossing folder are all in the new catalog. They're not leaving. The paper's leaving. So I decided I wanted to concentrate on the paper today and let the paper do most of the work. So, and I'll bring each of these pieces out and show you where I got things, but this is pretty much what's left. Not much. Set that off to the side. And let me show you what we're going to make. This is the card we're making today. It has a couple little umbrellas. And this is Mango Melody, which is also leaving it, but that was the yellow in his jacket here. And this is what's called, hang on, I always get the name of this mixed up. It's the Slide and Lock Gatefold. And what it basically does is this slides up like this and comes off to open our little card. And as you can see, I'm letting the paper do the work. And then on the back is a place to sign. Now, and I'm going to show you how to make this mechanism. It does not have to be a circle. It could be a square, it could be a star, it could be a heart, it could be anything you want. But this slides back on just like this. And, oop, I didn't get it hooked right. Watch where I'm going. You also can take and lift it a little bit and pull it in too to get it started. Oh. But it does have to go in straight. I'm doing this on camera and backwards here to me. But it goes on like that. It slides down, but holds it in place versus a belly band. So it's really nice. Now, we're making one similar to this, but not exactly like it. We're going to use different colors and some different characters. But this one's horizontal. I wanted to show you one that is vertical. Now this was made with Elephant Parade and it's made with Blushing Bride. Both the Elephant Parade and the Blushing Bride are leaving us, but this one is made with an oval. This is made with the oval from the Frame Florets. And like I said, the oval works just the same, pulls down. You can see, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to show you how to make this. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have something that works. And then this one opens up and says, what a happy day. Just a very simple little card. But when you first put it on, you can put it on this way too. Hang on here. I know it's wrong. I don't have my glasses on. That always helps. But you can slide it on this way too. But it's just a way of holding your card together instead of a belly band. And then it slides down like that. So, very nice little card. So, let me get this one out of my way, put it somewhere safe, and move this guy out of my way. And let me get the pieces I need. So we're going to be making one out of Flirty Flamingo. So we have a piece that is 11 by 4 1/4. And I'll put my glasses, put the glasses on, that helps. And we're going to score this at 2 3/4 on both ends. That's our scoring. And we're going to pull those two in, and uh-oh, I'm off a little bit. Do you see what's happened here? I'm thinking we may just cut this again. Do you see what's happened here? I'm off. My measurements are off ever so slightly that I'm overlapping. So you can do one of two things. You can start a new piece, or just being off a hair won't make that much difference. It's this one here that is just a hair off. So what I'm going to do, instead of starting over, I'm bringing this down towards me, and I'm literally going to cut off that much. Your cards can't overlap. So if they do, you just need to take a smidge off. Now, one other thing you could do is score one side and just bring the other side over and fold it and burnish it by hand. And sometimes that works really well too. But I wanted to show you if this happened to me on the pink one, not on the other one. So just being off just a hair in your measuring when you're scoring. And that works just fine like that. Okay, so that's the base of our card. And we have an umbrella. We're going to do some stamping here in a few minutes. And here's the back of our card. And I have a piece of scrap. I had a piece of scrap. There's a piece of scrap. So we do need to do some stamping. So first we're going to go ahead and stamp Oh Happy Day. Whoop. And Oh Happy Day is going to get stamped right here towards the top of our back, and Flirty Flamingo. We are going to stamp on this piece of scrap paper. You need a piece of scrap paper. This is our oval punch. You want a piece of scrap paper that will fit that punch, the larger one with the scallops. Because we are going to stamp in Memento, Rainy Days Are Better With You. Ooh, that's awful. Let me try that again. That's better. I do think my ink pad needs some new ink. And then I'm going to grab the umbrella. And I'm going to stamp 2 umbrellas right there in the front. And then we have one more stamping bit to do. The raindrops. Make sure your raindrops are going the right direction. I'm using Balmy Blue. And I'm stamping right over the rainy day saying, just, you can decide what kind of downpour you're having. It's like when we had yesterday. You'll have a lot of raindrops. So that's all the stamping on this card. We're going to go ahead and punch this one out. No one will know that's on the back, so that one's all cut out with the raindrops on it. This is our Oh Happy Day, which we'll come back to in a minute, and this is our little umbrellas. And while we've got this out, this is just a piece of scrap paper. You can see I've got ink on it. This is a piece I use going down into the corner of my envelope when I'm using blends. And since the base of the card was Flirty Flamingo, I decided to use light Flirty Flamingo. Not getting fancy, it's just the front of the envelope. And since it was rainy, I decided to use Balmy Blue. And I'm using Balmy Blue in the other parts of the card too. So that's our envelope all completed. So we'll get it out of the way. And we'll start bringing some more pieces in now. This piece is a piece of the raindrop paper. Now there's the stormy one, and then there's this one, which is a little lighter. And it gets lighter as you go down the page. This is sort of in the middle. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. And it's going to go in the center of our card right here. Yeah, the reason I wanted to use this is, you know, this stamp set we can color and do all this stuff later, but the paper is retiring, and I thought it'd be fun just to use the paper and let the paper, make sure my raindrops are going the right way. Let the paper do the show for us. Especially this is such pretty paper. And then for the panels here, I cut the umbrellas. And these are 2 1/2 by 4, and I need 4 of them. Now I marked these two as with an F because I cut these two for the front panel. Make sure I get them right, going the right direction. I didn't. I cut them right next to each other. There we go. So that was, they would carry over. You're not always going to see it if the belly, if the little stopper's on here, but once the stopper's off, you will see that they're lined up. That's, you know, strictly up to you. I like to do it whenever possible. The inside doesn't matter because they're not going to be touching. This has 1/4 inch borders on this card. I know I jump around a lot between 1/4 and, I like to jump around. I don't like to stick to one formula. The ones on the inside. I said the paper was so cute. Just needed to shine and be shown off some more. Okay, so then I cut a bunch of pieces out. We have a little fox, we have a bunny, and I use dies to cut those out from the paper. There's a partial turtle. This was on the edge of the paper, so I cut it out. So we're going to use that. And then I die cut. Now let's hope I didn't lose them. There's one cloud. Bear with me. There's 2 clouds. Hang on. We may have to die cut if I can't find the 3rd cloud here in a minute. There was 3 clouds. Let's see if it's stuck to anything. Well, we'll use 2 clouds. These clouds, there's a die that cuts the clouds, and these came from the top of the paper. Here. These pieces here, and it's still got the UV on there. But there's a set of 3. This is part of that set. So you could cut out pieces, or you could fussy cut them. And like I said, I did have 3, but 1 has left. So I'm gonna set this aside for a second. We're gonna go ahead and finish the back real fast. And this little guy goes here. And he sits right on the edge. Just like he cut from the paper before, he's sitting right on the edge of this on the bottom. He just adds something a little extra. And we'll glue him on the back. Oh dear. I grabbed the wrong piece of paper. This was my scratch piece of paper. I looked at the S on the back. But you want to know something? His border will be a little bigger, but he will work just fine, and I'm not going to change it. Like I said, I make mistakes. just like everybody else, I had another piece right here, and I had a piece of scratch paper, and I grabbed the wrong one. But you want to know something? A little bigger border on the back will make absolutely no difference. And as long as you don't tell anybody that I made that mistake, no one will know but us. So there's that. Now we're going to go ahead and put these guys here. I'm going to do a little dry fitting here, and here's this one, and here is 2 of my clouds. The other one had 3 clouds, but like I said, I'm going to take one more look on the floor to see if it, oh, found it. It did, it fell on the floor. So I'm going to put this on first. I'm not popping anything up because this thing has a lot of bulk with that closure on it. So I'm going to put that right about there. Now, you do, with all this UV on here, you do have to let this sit for a few seconds before you start moving stuff around, because it does take a few minutes for it to adhere. It will adhere, but it does take a few seconds, a minute or so. So you don't want to play with it too much. So we're going to put all this down, then we're going to start working on the mechanism. And let this all dry. I'll put that one there. And the other little cloud here, we'll put him like that. Put another little dot of glue right there. All right, and we'll put this guy here. The little fox, which I think he's so cute. I just couldn't resist playing with these papers again. Not that I won't play with them more, just probably not on air. I'll play with this set more on air. So there's that. Okay. Like I said, it takes a few minutes for this to all set up and dry. Lori's got, my box has a weird texture to it. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with it. We are just going to set that there with some pressure and let that dry. Okay? And I am going to try to slide this off here. There we go. Well, we work on the mechanism. Okay, the front of my mechanism has this poor little cute piggy. And he is die cut with the layering circle dies. You could use punches. We got the new punches. You could use circles, squares. Like I said, this mechanism does not have to be a circle. But I did use the layering circles to make this one. And he's cut from... These big guys here can be cut with the dies, but the littler guys, like these guys, they can't be. You can fussy cut them, or you could use, you know, the other shapes to cut them out. And that's what I did. And then I cut a larger circle for him to go on, just like that. Okay, but we're not hooking him on yet. And then you have 3 more pieces exactly the same size. Okay, now you need 4 total. You need 4 sizes of exactly the same, or you could use one that's larger and mount these on the back, and that's what I'm doing. So you either need 3 of the same and 1 larger, or 4 exactly the same. Hope that makes sense. So first one, and I'm taking account, there's the, you can tell when you die cut, it rolls down slightly. So I'm flipping this one so the cut edge is up. And then these, I'm going to take the edge that is folded downward, curved down. When you feel, if you feel a die cut, you can tell the difference, which was the back and which was the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it so the smooth is in the inside. And I'm going to fold this in half. Now, if you're using a square, you could actually put it in the machine and burnish it. Score it and burnish it. And you want to make sure this is well burnished. And then you do that. Same thing with this one. And the reason I picked the rough, not the rough edge to go inside, I want it on the outside, is because this is the what moves inside, the card moves inside. And if you get that little rough edge, sometimes it can hang up on it. Not always, but it can. I found it just easier. And we'll just... do that. And then we're going to take these two, and both the fold pieces are going to go like this, and we're going to layer it onto here. So I'm going to put my glue all over this. Told you this was a real easy mechanism to make. And I'm going to put this first one on and make sure he is right to the edge of the circle. Now I put the other one on and butt him right up against the other one, not overlapping though. Make sure everybody's inside the circle. That's why it helps to have at least one the exact same size. So if you were doing where you just had the same size, you'd put another circle here, then you'd put your topper on the front. And that's what I did on this one. I have my pink ones here. I have 4 pink layers. Let me pull this off so you can see it. So there's a pink layer, and then the 2 folded layers here. And then I popped my other piece on top. So that's all the same. So 4 the same, and then whatever I had on top. But this one, since I'm using a little bigger, it didn't make that much difference. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to center this right in the center. Notice I have not put the pig on yet. Because you got to make sure the pig is lined up and going the right direction. So it's easier to build the mechanism first. And you want to get that right as close to middle as you can. Okay, now we can see our mechanism here. I'm not going to pull too tight, but you can see it there. I've got my fingers in there. So there's the top right here. I'm going to flip this over. I can see where my top is. Now I have a little boo-boo on the paper here, a little flaw for my tape, but it's fine because this is going to cover it up. So I know that I'm going up and down right here. So I can put my little pig, mount him right in the center. And I don't want him straight up and down anyhow. I think he's leaning a little bit. So you could put more decorations on this. You could make it bigger. I've seen people use the rectangles, scallop contours to make these. I've actually made one with the scallop contours, just have not filmed it. So you can do this with any shape dies. So there we go, like that. So let's pull this back and take the big block off. If anybody wonders, this is an F block. It's the biggest block they make. And I don't usually use it as for stamping too much. I get that big, I usually go to my Stamparatus. It's easier on my hands. But I use that block for is a palette for when I'm watercoloring, when I'm holding stuff down. I use it for a lot of other things. So, everybody's all dry. We have the back of our card there. And everybody's all dry, so we're ready to seal our card up. So the first time I put it on, I don't try to thread it. I put it on like this. I put one side in, then I sort of take my finger and pop it in this way and bow it a little bit just to get it in there, because it's tight fit the first time. And whoop. And then if you slide it back and forth a little bit, then it'll start moving a little bit. But its main purpose, yeah, my glue is still wet. I'm not going to play with it anymore. My glue is still wet and I'm going to pull it, and I don't want to. You need to let it dry thoroughly, longer than 3 minutes, because you've got several layers in there. But then, you know, working it back and forth a little bit and they'll work. But like I said, its main purpose is, and if your person, whoever gets it, they're going to go like this. And it's not going to make any difference. But the main purpose is to hold the card together versus a belly band. Like I said, I can feel my glue in here is wet, and I don't want to play with it any more than that. So then I looked at these, and then this is the one from the first one. I put a little bling there right on the top because he's happy it's raining. He doesn't look quite as happy. So I decided to grab a basic rhinestone. I looked at him and I thought I could put a rhinestone here. Someone suggested putting it on his nose. And I thought, no, I think I'll just take a small one and put it right here in his hands. So it's the end of his umbrella. So that is our card. This is the first one I made. Like I said, just a little different. And there's one of the things. So go out and play with your paper, especially if you have this paper. You know, go out and make some fun things. Use them as die cuts, and they work great. And if you don't have the paper, stamp and color, and you can make them any color you want then. But go out and have fun and play, and have a nice weekend. And I will see you next week, and thank you for joining me. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and share it out to all your friends and family, and help me grow. Thank you. Goodbye.